Hi there everyone, welcome back to the channel and back to the Indoor Golf Performance Centre here at Howley Hall Golf Club. If you haven't already done so, hit the subscribe button, see loads more content from all of us at Golfshake to help you play more and play better. So today, as you've seen, this is the first in what we're calling a swing speed series of driver reviews that we're going to do. So here I have picked 4 that we've got in the room here that kind of suit the kind of mid to high handicap bracket. We're going to put them through their paces, but more importantly, we're going to do it at a slower swing speed. We've been thinking for a while about this and how we do this kind of testing, because naturally you would try and get a higher handicapper with a slower swing speed in. The problem that comes with that is you can't guarantee that the results are going to be that accurate, because one, by virtue of the fact that they're that kind of handicap, they're not going to hit the middle of the face very often, right? So some of the numbers can get skewed that way. So what I thought is I would kind of try and dial my swing back a little bit, try and lower the club head speed, get it towards that kind of 85 miles an hour mark, which is kind of the average that I see from most of the guys that I teach in that kind of 55 to 70 age bracket, and really see how all these drivers perform at that speed, okay? I should, in inverted commas, hit the middle of the face more often than not, so I should give a good indication of what each of these drivers is doing. So we're going to start with G440 Max, okay? Obviously new to the market this year, a driver that is particularly popular with that senior golfer end as well, and certainly that kind of handicap bracket and age bracket tend to gravitate towards Ping as a brand more often than any, I find, when I'm doing fittings. We've obviously got Qi35 Max, which is 10K MOI head, and again, the most forgiving in the TaylorMade range this year. I've then got Wilson, so I've got Dynapower Max here in this driver, so really, really good looking head. I think will kind of raise a few eyebrows this year as well. Very, very good driver. And then finally, I have got the Callaway, so you can't have a driver review without Callaway. So I've got Elyte X here, so the most forgiving model that they have in the new Elyte range of drivers too. So we're going to hit them all here, like I say, around 85 miles an hour. We're going to kind of talk a little bit about what we're doing loft-wise with these drivers when we're hitting them too, and sort of seeing what we need to do to change them in order to get them to perform properly. So come with us, let's hit some on the Trackman and see exactly how these perform. So whilst we're doing this test at a slower speed, what I thought is we'd use a golf ball that's designed for that a bit more as well. So I've gone Wilson Triad. So this is a golf ball that we sell a lot of here and performs really well for varieties of different handicaps, but particularly with that slightly lower club head and ball speed. So hopefully we'll see some differences in the testing because of this as well. So we've started with Qi35 Max, right? So I've got the 12-degree head here, and the first few that I've hit, I've just found they've not gone very high. So what I've done is loft this up even more. So I've got it 14 degrees now, hitting it at 85 miles an hour just to see. I've just put the results at the bottom of the screen of the few that we've hit so far. You can see quite low in terms of the flight. Distance has dropped a little bit. And yeah, not really performing as well as it can do. You can see the spin's super low as well. So what I've done is lofted it up a bit. So added that couple of degrees. Hopefully we'll get a bit more spin, a bit more launch, and a bit better performance and distance. So fingers crossed that one works. So definitely better. Right, let's hit the others as well. So now that we've had a chance to hit all of these drivers, and like I say, I've tried to hit them around the 85 miles an hour mark, and we can see, to be honest, I did better than I thought I was going to do doing this. Managed to kind of get them all within 1 mile an hour, less than 1 mile an hour between them all, which is good. So it gives us a good indication of how these drivers are performing. Now it has to be said, in terms of technique, my driver swing is fairly shallow, which is probably shallower than many of you out there, and certainly the kind of golfers that tend to be fitted into these drivers. Many of you are steeper, hit across the line of the driver a little bit more, so you may not find the same results as what I'm seeing here, but there'll be many of you out there that do swing it quite shallow, do hit up on the ball a bit, and maybe do spin it quite low when you're using these drivers, which I would say in terms of spin numbers, these are certainly on the lower end of what I would expect when hitting a driver. If I could get my driver numbers spinning as low as this, I think I'd probably add another 10 yards to how far I hit a driver, so that's maybe something for me to work on. But let's look at all 4 of them. So we've got, at the top there, Qi35 Max. We can see there, performed very, very well. So we can see the spin at 2,400. So of the drivers we've tested here, it spun more on average than the rest. I wasn't expecting this, because when I tried this in our sort of standalone review video, if you like, for Qi35, the Max for me actually spun the lowest of all three models. Now I've since done some more testing and managed to find a setting in LS that works a bit better and spins a bit less, but certainly the Max, I think, on the basis of just this test that I've done and also the standalone review, I think it's a bit of a jack of all trades, really, that you can fit into different types of golfer and get the results that you're looking for. So yeah, 2,400 spin is, like I say, the highest, which in this category for me, particularly when you're a shallow sort of swinger of the ball, you don't hit down on it much, is good. I think the more spin, the better. Now, it has to be said, with all these drivers, as I said before, we've had to do some adjustments in terms of the loft. Now, I've used a regular flex shaft in all of these, and I've also lofted them up pretty much as they'll go. So around the kind of 13, 14 degrees mark is where I've had all of these heads, all right? So depending on the kind of various different adjustabilities that each one's got, but so regular shaft and around 13, 14 degrees. So you can see here, in terms of the distance, we're getting 221, just over 221 and a half total, and sort of 192 carry. So you can see it's carried the furthest of all the ones that we've hit there as well. And because the spins are a little bit higher, it's maybe had a bit of an effect on the distance, but as you can see, it's only second to the Callaway, which we'll get onto in a second. If we look at the next one down, so Wilson Dynapower Max, I think in terms of looks, this driver looks really, really good. It's a really nice footprint, sits behind the ball nicely. In terms of the feel off the face, I thought it was nice and solid. I think probably of the four, it's a toss-up between the Ping and the Callaway, which one feels the best off the face and which one kind of felt the quickest, I thought, when I hit them. I mean, you know, incidentally, the ball speed numbers don't really kind of back that up. I mean, all of them are kind of within a couple of miles an hour. The Dynapower just dropping that little bit, but around the 126 miles an hour they're coming off the face, which is good. I mean, if we look at the total distance there with Dynapower Max, 217, 185 carry, so it's a little bit down on ball speed and carry on the others. But still performing really nicely, 217 as an average, so it's pretty close in terms of the total distances. We can see in terms of the heights, so Dynapower and Qi35 Max have gone ever so slightly higher than the others, but around that kind of 50 to 55 feet mark in terms of sort of peak height. Now, I would probably want to see that a bit higher if the spin stayed where this is now. So it may be that if you're that kind of swinger of the golf club who finds what I do, where it's maybe not peaking high enough, that even more loft could be better for you. And this is why a lot of you know, using mini drivers and things like that are probably getting better results, because of that higher loft on the golf club. Obviously the shorter shaft helps to help you with the ball strike, you know, and things like that. But yeah, potentially that more loft could be something that you're looking at. There's loads of fittings that I do. People come in with a preconception, want a 9 degree or a 10 degree driver because that's what they've always had. Now, these drivers work very differently, and brand to brand work very differently, and we can see the results kind of backing that up here as well. When we move on to the Callaway Elyte, I think, like I say, it's between this and the Ping, which one felt better. I like the look of this a bit more than the Ping, but in terms of the performance, it's up there with what we saw with Qi35 Max. So 222 pretty much total distance, 187 carry, so it's a little bit less carry than the TaylorMade, but because the spin is lower and probably a bit too low maybe. So this is something, so I had this, it was the 12 degree head, and I lofted it up to 14 degrees and still wasn't getting that much height and spin on it really. So this is maybe something to consider. But like I say, those of you that have that kind of technique where you hit across the golf ball a little bit are probably going to generate more spin than me, so you might not need as much loft, okay? And you might find it easier to get the ball in the air. And then when we look at G440 Max, we can see there 218 total, 126 ball speed, 185 carry. And again, spin wise, the second highest. So it's helping to get that ball in the air a little bit more for you. And I think that certainly in contrast to what I've seen when doing the standalone reviews for Ping, I always struggle to get, you know, at the sort of speed I'm swinging it at, I struggle to get them to go as far as the TaylorMade and Callaway ones. But you can see here, they're very, very good. I mean, they stack up really nicely. The spin's good and the distance is very good as well. I think of the testing I've done, Callaway and TaylorMade in the Elyte X and Qi35 Max certainly outperform the other two a little bit. Sort of notable absences in here, we've obviously got the new driver from Titleist, Cobra, that we haven't got in here as well. Unfortunately, we had to send all of our samples back, so I think potentially we could do a video with that and get that in this test too. There's obviously other brands out there as well that we would love to test some of your products, so if you want us to, please send them along. But yeah, hopefully you've enjoyed that video. Keep your eyes peeled for some more stuff like this, where we're going to hit it at different club head speeds and see which one works the best. Hopefully you've enjoyed that, and we'll see you soon.